It's a Minimalist Monday edition of Optimal Finance Daily, episode 731. Retiring at 37 is hard, and where should my money go? Both by Chris Reining of chrisreining.com. And I am your narrator, Dan. A happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend. And welcome back to the place where I read to you from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet. And I'll keep this intro nice and short for you today on this Minimalist Monday. So let's get right to our two posts as we optimize your life. Retiring at 37 is hard by Chris Reining of chrisreining.com. I think I'm dying. I'm having chest pains, shortness of breath, and body chills, so I'm driving myself to urgent care, and when I get there, I describe my symptoms to the check-in lady. She tells me to go to the front of the triage line. After triage, I see the doctor and tell him what's going on, and then a nurse comes in and does an EKG. She leaves, and now I'm sitting there waiting to find out how long I have to live. The doctor comes back. How's your job? What? You're fine. Are you under a lot of stress at work? I like him because he tells me to read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle and to take a meditation class. He asks me if I want pharmaceuticals, and I say no. He writes me a prescription anyway. I realize I'm trying to do too much. A full-time job, running a website that's turning into a full-time job, and finding time for a life. Something has to give. And I already knew that because I tried to quit my job 2 months earlier. My boss had invited me into his office, and when I sat down, he slid an offer letter across the table. It was for a promotion. I've been thinking about quitting. Why would you do that? Because I've been doing this for 15 years and I want a break? Well, I'll support whatever decision you make. Take the weekend to think it over. So how do you make big life decisions like this? My intuition is telling me it's time to quit, but I don't trust it. I don't know why not. So I sit down at my dining room table and come up with a way to make a logical decision. I write down what's important to me, the ways I want to live my life, and I weigh the importance of each one and then score them against taking the promotion or quitting. I feel like I'm crazy for doing this, but I have my answer. Monday morning, I show up in my boss's office. I decided I'm going to quit. Are you playing a card here? No. Is it more money? More responsibility? No. What is it then? It's me doing what I want with my life. Well, if you stay, you have a really bright future. And I start thinking about the money I'm giving up, the career I spent 15 years building, my identity. I get scared and second-guess my decision. I take the job. That was a mistake. It's always a mistake when you don't follow your intuition, or when you listen to everyone around you telling you what to do. What's hard is convincing yourself everyone else is delusional and you're the sane one. So I work a few months more before I meet with my boss and tell him it's finally time. People tell me I'm lucky to retire at 37. For a while, I believed this until I remembered I'd been working towards this goal for at least 6 years. Because that's when I decided my time was more important than money, because time makes you happier. The first thing I started doing was tracking where my money was going. I had no idea I was spending most of it, 89% to be exact. And then I found the biggest expenses to cut, like the $1,000 a month I spent flying airplanes. Then I worked on making cuts in other areas. But you can't frugal your way to financial freedom, so I took my career and learned how to become more valuable because top performers earn more money. By reducing what I spent and earning more money, it caused my savings to skyrocket. The first year I was able to save 15%, then 30%, and then 45%. It topped out around 55%. If you want to become wealthy, it doesn't make any sense to keep money in a savings account. You have to invest. So I put it in the stock market. I lost a lot during the financial crisis, but over the long term, the market always goes up. And at 35, I became a millionaire. Honestly, it was kind of a letdown, but I had enough money where I felt like I didn't have to work if I didn't want to. In fact, I reached what's called the crossover point, meaning I had enough money that I could generate $40,000 in passive income for the rest of my life. You know, setting a goal to become financially free was easy. Getting there was pretty hard. But quitting, walking away from one life to start another, that was the hardest. Because the funny thing about money is you always feel like you need more. I was scared to walk away from it. But I was more scared of finding myself at the end of my life having never done what I really wanted to do. And that's not how you live life. And I will have another article for you in just a moment, but first, thank you to Policy Genius. Here's a disturbing fact. Over half of bankruptcies and mortgage foreclosures are caused by medical issues. If you get sick or injured over the course of your career, your employer's sick leave might only cover you for up to 3 months. And while health insurance helps with medical bills, it doesn't replace lost income. And that's where disability insurance comes in. It's essentially income insurance. It protects your paycheck if you're sidelined by an illness or injury. And disability insurance can cover your lost income for months, years, or even decades. And Policy Genius is the easy way to get it. Policy Genius does all the shopping for you by comparing quotes from the top disability insurance companies to find you the best price. Then, their licensed experts manage the application process to save you time and hassle. Policy Genius has helped over 4 million people shop for insurance and placed over $20 billion in coverage. So if you rely on your income to get by, compare disability insurance quotes with PolicyGenius.com. We'll help you protect your paycheck at a price that makes sense. You can get started online right now at PolicyGenius.com. Policy Genius, the easy way to compare and buy disability insurance. Where Should My Money Go? By Chris Reining of ChrisReining.com. Today's question comes from Gabrielle. She asks, quote, I constantly feel like I'm not putting my money in the right place. How much should go towards student loans, savings, 401k? When do I start investing? It feels so vague. End quote. In my early 20s, my big goal was to buy a house. Of course, I liked the fancy condos downtown that went for $200,000. To come up with $40,000 for a down payment seemed delusional because I barely made more than that. Instead of saying, I'll buy a place someday, I told myself I had 3 years. Here, I'll show you the math I did. $40,000 equals $1,100 times 36 months. So I set up an automatic transfer that took $1,000 from my checking account every month and sent it to a high-interest savings account. With this, plus rent and everything else, I didn't have much money left over. And I remember feeling jealous when my friends were buying new stuff I knew I couldn't afford. Do you see the underlying psychology here? And here's the exact framework I used to figure out where my money should go. 1. Don't leave free money on the table. Contribute enough to get the full company match for your 401k or similar retirement account. Your future self will thank you. 2. Have a minimum of $1,000 saved. Most people can't handle a $500 emergency, so don't be like them. And stuffing your savings account with 3 to 6 months' worth of cash is even better. 3. Create one goal. Take a vacation to Paris, increase my savings, save a down payment for a house, or pay off my student loans. 4. Make the goal specific, time box it, and break it down. For example, increase my savings becomes save $10,000 by next February. Here's the math for that. $10,000 equals $800 times 12 months. You with me? Okay, good. 5. Map your money. I'll walk you through how to do this too. Let's say your take-home pay is $4,000 a month. Rent equals $1,600. Student loans equals $1,000. Savings, $800. Everything else, like bills, clothes, eating out, groceries, etc., comes to $600. Do you see that you really only have $600 to live on? So the key here is to prioritize how this is spent. Hint, brutally cut out everything you don't care about so you can spend on the things you value. And 6, build habits through the power of automation. You can't rely on pure discipline to reach your goals because it eventually runs out. Instead, when you set up automatic transfers to pay your rent and your student loans and to build your savings, what you're really doing is creating habits, which is discipline. You just listened to the posts titled Retiring at 37 is Hard and Where Should My Money Go? Both by Chris Reining of ChrisReining.com. And a great way to map out your money is to track it for a month or even longer, all your income and expenses. A tool we recommend for that is YNAB. That stands for You Need a Budget. You can get an extended free trial and track your expenses for a few months for free with our link. That's oldpodcast.com/track. They do a great job of automating the transactions, so you don't have to do much, if anything. Again, you can try that out for free at oldpodcast.com/track. And that's going to do it for today here at Optimal Finance Daily. Thank you so much for being here and subscribing, and have a great start to your week. I'll see you back here for the Tuesday show tomorrow. That's where your optimal life awaits.